Welcome to another episode of The Wave. I'm your host, Don Tecson, and joining with me is one of my co-hosts on the show, Miss Jessica Philppot. I'm going to be bringing on camera a little bit later, but I'd just like to welcome you to another episode of The Wave, the wonderful Alberni Valley Experience. And I'm so happy that my dear Jessica is with us today. Hello, Jessica.
Hello, how are you?
What have you been up to?
I have been busy making face masks for the studio and making all kinds of changes so that I can reopen my business to people. So stay tuned because, yeah, there's all kinds of things happening.
Oh, for sure. I'm gonna interview you when you reopen, before you reopen. Now I'd like you to introduce our special guest, darling. Please do so.
We're here today with a good friend of mine, NAOMI Nicholson. She was with us on the wave before to talk about her cannabis education, and she's back with us again today to talk about her wave and to talk about what's going on with her right now with all these changes.
Perfect. Yes. Welcome to the show, Naomi. And
Thank
I'm so glad to
you.
have you. Naomi's kind of holding me in suspense. She says she has a bombshell revelation, which we'll get to on later on in the show. But for now, we're going to talk about Naomi's wave, her personal, wonderful Alberni Valley experience. Starting off with the fact that Naomi was born here in Port Alberni. So tell us about that. What was life growing up? What was life like growing up here in Port Alberni, the beautiful, wonderful Alberni Valley?
Well, at 3:23 on March 11th, 40 years ago, and yes, I am 40 and proud
Okay,
of it.
very
I
good.
was born in the West Coast General Hospital on 8th Avenue, where the police station is. And I got to grow up mainly in Port Alberni. I did live in a house for a couple years when I was younger, and then we moved back to Port Alberni. I grew up on Anderson Avenue, 2 houses up from the old Kentucky Fried Chicken and across from what used to be Calgary School. And that's where the McDonald's is. And, you know, we had the life, like we played outside. We were never allowed inside. We only really had to worry about the creepy ice cream men. But, you know, things were really good back then. And I did not graduate. I really struggled with math. And, you know, sometimes back then teachers weren't as supportive as maybe they are now. And I did 10 years not graduating because I didn't believe in myself. I believed what the teacher said. So I had a couple car accidents that were not my fault, and they fused my tubes together. And back then nobody thought about that, so they gave me birth control and a lot of pain pills, and it ate through the lining of my stomach, and that's how I heard about leaky gut.
Oh,
So that was actually my start into natural health because the doctors couldn't help me. Nobody knew what was wrong with me. And so that was in my early 20s, and I decided that I was going to go work at the mill. Life was good. They were hiring Indigenous people and women, and unfortunately, when you have back problems, you can't do certain jobs. So that's how I ended up in my first career as a personal trainer. I mean, I had done 7 years of rehab. Why not be a personal trainer? And I invested in Port Alberni, and I invested in Port Alberni, bought a house, and opened up a fitness center for 6 years where it
wow.
was, it was all private though. Most people don't like to be watched when they're exercising, especially if you have pain. So I
Mm-hmm.
did everything by appointment, and it was great. However, Port Alberni does have its ups and downs, especially when the unions go on strike or there's a layoff. I don't really know if people understand that the financial impacts and how it trickles down to self-employed businesses when our unions, when our people aren't working.
Oh my goodness. So was there ever a time that you moved away from Port Alberni to travel,
Yes.
explore, and then come back?
Yes. So I moved to Nanaimo to go to Vancouver Island University, where I obtained my Bachelor of Tourism Management with honors. And I remember being in Superstore in Nanaimo, grocery shopping. The lady says, do you want bags? And I said, yes, please. And she charged me for them. And I mean, back then, like, Port Alberni is very spoiled. I said to her, I'm like, what, you're charging me for bags? They don't do that in Port Alberni. And she literally looked at me, took my money, and she goes, welcome to Nanaimo, honey. And I was, holy crap. I mean, we're talking, this is 2007.
Oh my.
So Port Alberni was not into bringing your own bags until like 2 years ago. Nanaimo's, was composting and bringing bags. And so I moved to Nanaimo, and I tried to buy a house back then for $200,000, and I couldn't even buy a very good house. Like, it was horrible. Like, you couldn't find anything. And that's how I ended up in a beautiful modular home in Arrington.
Okay.
And from there, I realized, one, Port Alberni had the cheapest gas, cheapest food, cheaper housing, better trails and stuff, less people than Nanaimo did. So I came back to Port Alberni, even though I said I was never going to come back. So never say never, because Port Alberni has a lot to offer.
Well, I'm curious now, what made you say that about Port Alberni? You're never coming back to Port Alberni. Why?
Well, I think anybody, oh yeah, that's right. You guys both aren't locals. Well, when you grow up here, Port Alberni again was a stinky mill town. We were dealing with a lot of stigma. We didn't have any good bars. Like, the thing is, once you start to compare yourself to someone else, you don't want to be here. Nanaimo had shopping, they had nightlife, they had more people. So it seemed very attractive until you realize that you can't afford that house you wanted, or you have to pay for bags.
How dare they make me pay for bags?
It was a big thing in 2007. Port Alberni, I find that there was a lot of, the term rednecks, and I was one of them, where, we had the life. We had a union job. There was always money. We had paved roads. No one was ever going to lose their job. So I think there was a real false sense of security in Port Alberni. And so with me wanting to get out, like most, we wanted something better until we realized that Port Alberni actually has what we're looking for.
Well, there you go. So what was it like coming back? What were your realizations coming back and starting all over again with the wonderful Alberni Valley experience?
I think you have to leave to appreciate things. And whether it is, even what's happening now in our world, I think we appreciate the hugs, or maybe I actually should have gone to somebody's birthday party, right? Because we always thought we had more time. So I was lucky enough to realize that I couldn't afford to buy a house. And that was a big thing for me, was to have my own security of a home. So I started to appreciate things a lot quicker in life, I think, because, of that experience of moving away. I've traveled to Mexico, New York, Las Vegas. I have traveled extensively for work, and you do start to appreciate the big trees, the fact that people smile at you. I think that's the one thing that keeps me here. When you go to Nanaimo and you smile at somebody, they're like, ooh, you're going to get wrinkles.
Like, what are you doing? Especially now. Now it doesn't matter, though, because they can't see you smiling under your mask.
No, now I don't even look at anybody. I go in, I get what I need to get, and I get out.
So safe to say that you are happy to be back here and living your wonderful Alberni Valley experience, right?
I am, and especially with what's happening in the world, I really appreciate that we don't have BC ferries docking here. We don't have we have an airport, but it's not used for general population, because all these factors really add into how safe Port Alberni is and how safe I actually feel being here, versus if I was in Nanaimo or Vancouver. I think that makes a big impact on the decisions that you're going to make for your life.
That's the island in general too, right? There's only one case on the entire island right now. We are lucky.
Exactly.
And I believe that's because they made the smartest move and shut the borders down.
Oh yeah, they shut the borders down, and then we appropriately flattened our curve. Like I've said this a few times, everybody listened to Dr. Bonnie, and we stayed inside for the appropriate amount of time, and we were okay. So
Exactly. So I'm going to turn
now
it over
we're
to
into
Jessica
phase
now.
two.
Now that I've heard of your beautiful, wonderful Alberni Valley experience story, Ms. Naomi, I'm going to turn it over to Jessica now to do the questioning about this development with your business. You are running a business called Secluded Wellness.
Wellness. So
Yes.
what did your business entail before we were forced to shut down?
Well, I have to say that just before we had been shut down, I had found out that I was voted for the third year in a row by the Port Alberni Valley residents of being the favorite massage provider. So that was, I think, a really big deal for me. 3 years in a row, especially because I'm just a one-person gig. You know, like Jessica she can service more people. I can't. I only service one, like one at a time. So that was a really big deal, because the first year I was voted, you're like, okay, cool. The second year you're like, wow. And the third year you're like, oh man, now I feel like I got something to, live up to. The bar's been raised. So I've been in my new building for just over 2 years. We got to custom design it. I designed it on an Excel spreadsheet. And I'm actually coming to you live from my guest house. And maybe afterwards I'll show you a quick couple pictures because my phone's all set up. But I've always been an entrepreneur. I had my first fitness center, and then I went back to school, and I thought I was going to get a job at the New Channel Economic Development Corporation. And then that didn't happen because, again, funding cutbacks and everything's really cyclical, recessions and stuff. And then I got into the wellness center and the massage, and that's where I met Jessica, because when I came back from Nanaimo, I saw an ad for a $20 massage, and I'm like, sign me up. And I seriously had the best massage by Jessica. And I mean, I had massages
Oh,
for
I know Jessica's massage. It is one of the
years,
best.
years, years. And I had known the owner of the college that was teaching. So after chatting, I decided to take the course because I really liked that type of massage. And that's how Jessica and I had met.
Yeah. I was in school. I was so young.
2012.
You're still young compared to
2011.
me.
Uh, Inexperienced, I guess, was the word. So, what after that, Naomi? So you went to school, you got the shiatsu, and then what came after?
Well, I had already opened up my wellness center, and I was doing iridology, which is the study of the eye. So that's how I actually got over my massive health condition of having leaky gut. The doctors had given me so much birth control and medications, and there's many layers to your stomach, and the medication can kind of just wither away at the lining of it, and then you end up having digestive issues. And that was sort of my start with holistic health. And the massage was good because a mentor of mine said, people aren't going to pay for vitamins. You need to massage them. And then that way you can gain that trust, and then you can start talking to them about whatever health issues that they're seeing you, because health issues and massage go hand in hand. Like, I've yet to meet someone who does not have a back issue, a neck issue, that doesn't have some sort of health issue attached to it.
Right. So with the mandatory closures of our business, what's coming up for you next now?
Well, so I'll never forget my 40th birthday, because on March 11th, the World Health Organization deemed COVID-19 as the pandemic. And I totally thought this was BS, blah, 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 blah. But then my sister got it, and then my friends in New York got it, and then someone had passed away in New York. So then I was like, oh, this is actually really real. So then I changed my tune. I was quite upset on March 16th when you canceled my appointment, Jessica, because then I closed my business March 17th. So, in that quick time frame, you're like, oh crap, this is real.
Yeah, it was really, really fast with me too. We canceled appointments, but we wanted to keep the yoga classes in the store open, and then not even within a 24-hour period.
Yeah.
We're like, no, we got to shut the whole thing down. It was pretty fast.
It was. And from there, it's been a whirlwind. I've had to do, I don't know who this is, but
Who
that's
is
okay.
calling you?
I don't know. It's from
That's
Victoria.
okay.
So,
It happened to
you
me
know,
already one time.
oh, yeah, it was a whirlwind. I've done a lot of media interviews because small business usually gets the short end of the stick compared to
Yeah.
oil, gas, auto industry. And so I was really reliving the grief, and it was like I was getting kicked in the gut every day doing these surveys. And of course, being half Indigenous peoples are also very marginalized and on the bottom of the totem pole, if you caught that pun, when it comes to funding and having the resources. Because a lot of people have learned that even though I'm located on reserve, because of where I live, I don't have the same access to funding, to opportunities that people have if I was located off reserve. So even though I didn't want to do a lot of these interviews, I needed to educate people about this, because so many First Nation entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs in general and women, we're really going to struggle unless somebody comes in and advocates for us.
So did you apply for the emergency response? Did you qualify for the emergency response benefit?
It's funny right now. I don't know if you can hear the vibration. We have, which I'll tell you about what we're doing. They have the tampers going, so I can feel the rumble. I don't know if you guys can hear this. Sorry, what was your question again?
I said, did you qualify for the Canadian response benefit?
Yes. So luckily that was a breeze. But I was not eligible for the I'm going to say non-Indigenous. I think it was SEBA, where you can get the $40,000 loan. Because what people don't know is, because I'm located on the Queen's land, it's not provincial land, it's the Queen. I can't mortgage my house.
What?
Yeah, I can't mortgage my house. My house is worth $0.
What?
Yeah, people don't know that. Being on reserve, I'm not on provincial land. So actually, Dr. Bonnie Henry, I don't have to listen to her. I am going to listen to her.
But you should.
But jurisdictionally, I don't have to listen to the provincial government because I'm on federal land.
So what happens when you want to go sell your house?
I'm only allowed to sell to other Sishot members who have the financial ability to pay for this. So Ed and I are probably we've chosen to invest here, and by the time we're done, we're probably invested $1 million into the Sishot Reserve.
Wow.
Yeah. That's
Is that the bombshell you were going to be talking about? Or is there something else?
No, but that leads into it.
Okay, so let's segue then, and let's move into that, because you mentioned when we've talked privately that you weren't sure if you even wanted to do massage anymore.
Yes. So the bombshell drop is that I am not going back to massage.
Oh my God.
Oh.
Yeah.
Even privately.
I'm to an extent.
Even if I PM you on Facebook.
I have the same thought process though, Naomi. I will tell you that, like, my business partner and I have very long, lengthy discussions on whether we wanted to do massage after this or not. And
so there's a lot of layers to my decision. And the thing is people think when you're self-employed that you're rich, and that people would say to me all the time, oh my God, I heard you're so good. You're probably really busy, so I didn't book with you. And it's like, I only have 4 appointments this week. I really need your money. Or it was, oh my God, I heard you're really good and that you can fix this. Can I use my benefits? And I say no. And they're like, oh. And then I see them in a grocery store 3 weeks later, or a month later, and they're like, oh, but my neck still hurts. And I'm like, you could have booked with me. So now it's pretty much too late, because these are some of the factors. We had the strike. The strike just killed my business, like really killed it. And again, as a business owner, you don't want to say, I might default on my hydro bill. Do you want a massage? Because I'll take your money. You can't really say that to people.
Yeah.
So the layers that really are there, my place is really safe. I mean, I have vinyl floors. I already had a ozone air filter. I open the doors for people. I always wash my hands before and after. I washed in hot water. However, now, you know, even just thinking about the sheets, you're going to carry possibly a virus into your washing machine.
Mm-hmm.
And if people don't believe about the severity of the virus, have you ever had dog hair transfer out of your washing machine to somewhere else? If so, that proves my point that, you know, the virus is serious. Like, I wash my sheets in my house, and we have dogs, and I still find dog hair on my sheets. So, you know, that really kind of was the nail in the coffin to go, this is serious. Do I want to expose my family to germs? Can I afford to put a washer and dryer in? The payment stuff I could have done, but it's the big thing of wearing the mask. And we do have to wear goggles if we're asked by a client, and or a face shield. People do spit on me when I work on their stomach, like take a breath in, and they're like, and it's like droplets. And you do get spit on.
That's not even speaking moistly. That's like sprinkling.
Well, not to mention you're in a closed area for an hour or longer, right? So
well,
that
and air
means,
circulation, you know, when I was at the Sishot band office, they're on central air, and you know, you did learn that central air will move droplets. You know, certain people that were sitting underneath the air conditioning in the States would get COVID, but yet people at this table weren't infected. So that's a big thing. The air was okay. Like, I don't have central air. Like, I am pretty safe in that. However, the money, the plexiglass, the masks, the questionnaires, it's getting to be quite a bit. And again, the circulation in a 10 by 10 room, because that's usually what massage rooms are. So even if I did, there's no way I could do an hour and a half massage, which is the time frame that I preferred, because that's a long time to be there. Like, even going grocery shopping with the mask, it's a lot.
Yeah, you can't even drink your coffee or anything. Like, I don't even know if they're smiling at me or not.
So it's going to change the massage industry, because before, and this is one thing I really wanted to bring up, is that the onus was always on the business owner to have trust. You had to trust me that I was clean, on time, provided customer service to you. And now the tables have turned, because it's really now the onus is on the client.
Yeah.
Can I trust you? Because I have people on my Facebook that I've seen are partying and carrying on and going to birthday parties. And that's the biggest thing for me. I have to trust all the people that you've come into contact with for that hour where I'm really, really close to you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So what are your plans now? What are you are you thinking of revising or looking into a different area of business, or?
Oh, well, I'm so glad
I mean,
you
you are
asked.
resilient. I mean, that's what that's one thing I admire with all the business people here in Port Alberta. They are so resilient. You will
Yes.
have a hard time putting them down. So I'm curious to
You know,
know
and
what your
even
plans
like
are, darling.
Carol Ann, oh my God, I'm so impressed with Carol Ann too, on how she was able to pivot. So these are the words I don't like. Pivoting, what is the unprecedented times? Those words, if I never have to hear them again.
Reinventing.
Exactly. So when we built, being entrepreneurial, at the time I had a rental house. And since we had to invest all our money into the house we were building, I built a 1-bedroom suite in the same building as the wellness center. So then I opened up Chim's Guest House, which was an Indigenous themed lodging where you could come and experience Indigenous culture. And now I'm moving into the lodging business. So I've got,
Well, there you go.
The excavator. I don't know. I'm going to change my camera. So I think I know how to do this. Here we go. So here's the guest house.
Okay.
I don't know if you can,
I can see
the
it.
excavator arm. So through that window, there's the excavator arm. I don't know if you can see it, but I am going to
this
put
place you're showing us now is your guest house?
Yes, this is the guest house. And so
You are in the guest house now.
I am
Yes.
coming to you live. So here's my kitchen, and I bought this kitchen for $500 used, and my
Whoa.
dad put it in. All the stuff is brand new, all the appliances, and I'm sitting on the couch, and that there's the bathroom, and then speaking of Piatka, there is prints by Danae's dad. Her and her sister
Oh,
came over and they picked out stuff for us for the
that's
guest house.
wonderful.
So yeah, and they have their own patio. And so my massage room is actually right behind this kitchen.
Okay.
And
Okay.
then my office would be kind of where the fridge is, and then the two bathrooms go back to back. And then where the boardroom is, or sorry, the bedroom is, I have a boardroom. So I designed this place really, really well. And right now it's just become my extra place for food because we don't have anybody in here. And we are looking to move into just a monthly rental. And the jaw-dropping news is I'm going to create a little commune here.
Oh, okay. But
So the
people will be
excavators.
tested and everything.
Anything I thought you possibly throw at me was starting a commune. No way.
Yes. Yep. So right now,
COVID-free commune.
exactly, the excavators are putting in all the pipe work and stuff for 2 RV pads, and we're building a new building, which is going to have another suite in it.
Okay. So what are you
So
calling this commune of yours? Secluded commune or something again? Like
I don't know.
secluded lodging.
Yeah, Jim's guest house and commune. I don't know, but that's where I'm moving to, and it's it's scary to say that this is what I'm doing. I've been kind of hush hush about it because it's scary as a business owner to say what you're doing. It opens you up to feedback and comments, and
And critical, criticism.
you'd be surprised that one thing that it was really hurtful over this was there was a few people who publicly expressed that they were happy to see me falling and wondered how much effort it took for me to cry during my interview and just some really crab in the bucket syndrome stuff. And it really made me realize who's important, who's not. But when you're feeling sad and you're already stressed out, you don't have the shield, as strong of a shield to take the negative stuff. And social media has really changed our world. And that was another reason why I'm walking away from the self-employment life, is that social media and where it's going, especially if I wanted to stay with the cannabis, drop me a line, make sure you follow and subscribe, and, trying to talk to people for an hour or two online on Instagram. Like, for me, that wasn't congruent. Some people are fantastic online, but that just wasn't my strength. And online is where
That was what I was about to ask you. This whole CBD related segment of your business. How's that doing, or is that something that's?
Well, it's weird because now all of a sudden everything went quiet. But now people are starting to ask me about how to make infused cannabis topicals. I do have. You're allowed to gift up to 30 grams a day, and I gift edibles to people, and I teach them how to make them, but I don't do things for recreational high. I do it for medicinal purposes. So it's all high CBD, low THC, and I don't want to teach people how to get high. I want you to learn the medical side of it.
Exactly.
So there was a grant that I was going to apply for cannabis research with massage, but then again, I don't want to touch anybody. I don't think I could fulfill the requirements if I took on that money. So the cannabis stuff, I'm just going to leave it as word of mouth. If anybody ever wants to get in touch with me to know, I will tell you. However, I have a job.
Okay.
Yes, so that's
Tell
my
us about
bombshell.
it.
So I will be working for the New Channels Economic Development Corporation. I initially am going to help with the COVID cases, so the government funding for the $40,000. The money should be coming in next week or the week after for Indigenous business owners who are probably desperate for the money.
I would
because it's been a
imagine.
long time that we've waited, again, being at the bottom of the totem pole.
Well, not
So I
only that,
will,
like a lot of indigenous businesses have a lot to do with tourism, hospitality, and
Mm-hmm.
fishing in this
yes,
area. So a
yes,
lot of people, yeah, a lot of people in this area are going to struggle for the summer, I feel.
it is. And now that the New Channel Economic Development Corporation um, has gotten money, and I would like to put my little personal plug that, you know, I was chatting with Keith Henry from Indigenous Tourism Association of Canada, Paula Amos from Indigenous Tourism BC, Gord Johns. We are so lucky that this guy cares and he is for us.
He's fantastic.
He was messaging me. I was telling him my story. They were setting up media interviews for me. Gord was telling all the ministers and the people who are making decisions who I am and what I'm going through. So these people all know about me now, which is good because some of what I was saying and advocating for, and it was really hard on me to shed my tears on camera with the Check 6 News bawling my eyes out.
Aw.
Um, but it's true. Like, people need to see that there is a human to us who works 8 hours a day and then goes home and works another 4 to 5 hours, you know, a day. So it will feed my passion of Indigenous people, helping them. It will also feed my passion of business because I love business. And, you know, in time, I will still have my massage space, and I'm actually looking to rent it out, whether it's the massage space or just the boardroom. Because again, that's a lot of money to have an asset not make, like, that's a lot of square footage not to be making money on. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to see if I'm going to have maybe another massage person take over my space, or somebody else rent office space. And I feel the universe will provide and give me some direction.
Well, I am so happy for you, Naomi. I mean, we do have our ups and downs, like a wave. Like there's an up and there's a
Yeah.
down, but I'm so glad you are riding the wave of success and the wave of
Thank you.
direction and the wave of happiness with your personal life and your family life and your business life. We're
Well, it took a lot for me to actually even say this, and I wasn't going to, but I want to be able to kind of control the narrative and say, unfortunately, Secluded Wellness Center is a product of COVID small business loss, and I just can't reopen my doors right now on a full time to the public basis. So, Jessica, you know, again, I say you shouldn't do it, but that's just my opinion because I've spent a lot of time really researching it, and it's going to be very, very, very different for everybody if
Well,
massage
the
goes through.
regulations have come out through the Shiatsu Therapy Association, which is what we're established with. We're both Shiatsu therapists. So the Shiatsu Therapists Association has come out with their guidelines that we're going to have to follow. And I don't think it's as intense as and this is just where we're going to differ on opinion. I don't think it's going to be as bad as you may think. I'm going to get my scrubs and I'm going to wash my hands before and after. I mean, the chiropractors are open already, and they're just having people enter their door wearing their mask, washing their hands, taking straight to their room, and then it's done. So for our business, particularly the Power 3, we're dividing our services from our product right now. So one
Yeah.
side of our building, because we technically have two, so one side of our building we're going to turn it into all the products and just be its own little boutique shop. And then the other side will be all of our services, and so that we are prepared for a second wave, and we are prepared for if our services do get shut down again, we can still run our store. So
And
that's
some
the
of
beautiful
this
thing
is,
about Power 3 is that it's multifaceted, and it has always had multiple streams of incomes, and we always liked having service and product, and we're just going to keep pushing forward. Yeah.
Well, I have to wrap it up, girls. Thank you for being on the show, Jessica and Naomi. I wish you all the best. The wave shall continue, regardless of financial crisis, pandemic crisis. Life goes on, and we as human beings know how to roll with the punches. That's all part of the wonderful Alberni Valley experience. Thank you for watching. We will catch you next time on the wave.